Which deity do you pray to on Wednesday, and what are the incenses we light up for them? That's all we are going to discuss today. Namaste all you fragrant people, and welcome to Om Incense Show with DJ, a show that helps you increase your incense quotient. So if you are an incense enthusiast, consider subscribing. So we've seen Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Today we're seeing Wednesday. So Wednesday, the two popular associations with Wednesday is Ganesh ji and Saraswati ji. So if you are praying to Ganesh ji would be Ganesh ji, like Hanuman ji or like any of our other deities. He is also worshipped in both Vedic form and Tantric form. So when we say Vedic form, it's mostly for bhakti, the daily ritual kind of a thing, or some specific kind of worldly affairs that doesn't really want you stick to some kind of a strict karmakand like in tantric forms. Like you do not have to follow very strict rituals. It's more out of bhakti, so it's more of a casual thing, so to say. Not exactly, but it's not as strict as the tantric forms. So for that you would use, of course, any of the normal incenses that we use. We could use chandan, we could use camphor. But if you're praying to the tantric form of him, there are various tantric forms of Ganesh ji also, which people use for various sadhanas. So in that case you would use Google. But otherwise also, because Ganesh ji is the god he is the deity of Mooladhara chakra, the first chakra in our body, which once that is activated, only the other chakras get activated. So if you're worshipping to Ganesh ji as the god of Mooladhara, or just for bhakti purposes, you would want to use Google and dragon's blood, because these are both very protective incenses. And once the Mooladhara begins to open, you would need that kind of protection, because that door gets open to all of the other chakras, and you really do need some kind of very protective incense around you. So for that reason, if you are worshipping Ganesh ji, you would want to use Google and dragon's blood. So there's a reason why we have that story about Ganesh ji guarding Parvati ji when Shiv ji comes and he gets killed. Ganesh ji gets killed. So he is worshipping, he is guarding the Shakti. So that is what he does. He guards the Shakti in you, and he has a very, very protective aspect to him. The other aspect that he brings to light is the dissolution of obstructions. So if there's any kind of obstacles or obstructions in your life, he dissolves them. So whether you want to use whether you're worshipping Ganesh ji for pure bhakti or for some kind of intent of obstruction dissolution or probably protection, then you would use Google and dragon's blood, because Google and dragon's blood are two of the very protective incenses, and they're specifically very clearly associated with Mooladhara chakra, which is the first chakra and which really needs some kind of potent protection. So that was about Ganesh ji. Ganesh ji is usually worshipped on Wednesdays. So that was about Ganesh ji. Now the other deity that we worship to on Wednesday is Saraswati Ma. So Saraswati Ma, of course, all of us know, is associated with knowledge. But there is one aspect of Saraswati Ma where she's also associated with the interpersonal relationship that a husband and wife share with each other. So I think the whole concept is you have to have that intellect, that vivek, to approach that whole concept of matrimony in an open-minded way. So that is also one of the reasons why Saraswati ji was praised for that purpose. So if you're worshipping her for Vidya, so if you're worshipping her for knowledge purposes, then what you would want to light up is camphor or any of the white florals that we have. So it could be mogra, rajnigandha, tagar. Tagar is a very good incense for her. White damar that we call, it's Vetiria indica. The white damar, it's extremely very, very pleasant. It's a very wonderful fragrance. If you haven't checked out the white damar resin, please do. It's really nice. So if you are specifically worshipping her for knowledge, you would use this. And then in the market there are quite a few blends dedicated to Saraswati ji. If you are interested in cow dung based incenses, then there's this place called Swanand Govigyan. You can find him on YouTube. He has a channel on YouTube, and he has an incense blend which is specifically to invoke that Saraswati Tattva in you, to instill knowledge in you, to help you learn better whatever you've learned, to grasp it and to imbibe it better. It's called Saraswati Dhoop or something. So anything that is a specific blend for Saraswati Ji is what you would want to light up on Wednesday, specifically if you're worshipping to Saraswati Ji for knowledge. Now if you're worshipping her to bring about that kind of sense to help drill sense in your mind, where you can bring that whole aspect of vivek to your matrimony, that how you approach that whole concept of matrimony. For that you would want to use rose and camphor. So that is for Saraswati Ji. And you would be surprised to know that the Kama Sutra is the very famous text of India, which of course people say that it's a sex manual, but it's beyond that. It's much more than that. So on that, the first pages where the book is dedicated to Saraswati Ji also, meaning that this potent force of calm, or for normal people it's sex, but calm goes much beyond than that. So if you have to approach that subject, you have to have that sense. There's a reason why we worship Saraswati Ji along with Lakshmi Ji and Ganesh Ji, because just wealth alone is not going to help us. What we do with it is what matters. So for that we need to invoke Saraswati in us, so to give us that intellect. So if you are worshipping Saraswati Ji for that reason, then for the intellect part in your matrimony, then you would want to bring about good relationship vibes in a husband and wife, you would want to use rose and camphor. There is another third form of Saraswati Ji, which is called Neel Saraswati. She is specifically a goddess that's supposed to bestow creativity on you. So if you are and because that's a tantric form, and not everybody worships to that tantric form, but like I said earlier also, if you are worshipping any deity, the tantric form of any deity, you would want to use Google or dragon's blood. So same goes for Neeltara Saraswati also. You would, when you are worshipping to her, you might want to use either of these incenses. So for Ganeshji it's Google and dragon's blood, and for Saraswati Ma it's white florals, Parijat, Ratrani, Chameli, Mogra, Rajnigandha, Tagar, any of these, and also rose, camphor, and if you're worshipping to Neeltara Saraswati, of course Google and dragon's blood. So that's all we had for today, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode and you learned something from it. If you think somebody else can learn something from it, to share it with them. Let me know which deity do you associate yourself with on Wednesday in the region that you live in, and I'd like to share that with all of us here. This is Dolly Jha here, and I thank you so much for watching Om Incense Show. Till we meet again next, take very good care of yourself. Namaste.